So if you're watching this video, you're probably wondering how you can become not just a successful agent, but a top 1% agent in the insurance sales business. I'm going to give you my personal blueprint of how I accomplished that, as well as how others have accomplished that, so you can see the different ways or strategies or paths that you can follow to become a top 1% producer, and give you my opinion on what I would prefer to do, and hopefully empower you with the knowledge so that you can do the same. My name is David DeFord. I own DeFord Insurance Group. If you're interested in selling final expense over the phone or in person, and you value mentorship support, and you like the idea of a make money guarantee, then check out daviddeford.com/FAQ for more details on how that works. So first of all, before we get into this, how to become a top 1% producer and the 3 ways to do so, I want to hit a couple of things here. What is a top 1% producer? So I did a survey. You can go look it up on YouTube about how much money agents make. And essentially, the top 1% producers were roughly making about $500,000 or more a year, and not in revenue, but in net income. That's what was left over after paying for their expenses. So generally speaking, as an agent or agency owner, I kind of throw those into the mix because sometimes they kind of are both in one and the same. You're looking at incomes that are over $500,000 a year. And so from that standpoint, what I'm going to describe are the ways or options that I have seen been able to accomplish those very numbers and get you to that level. So when we think 1%, that's kind of where we're at or higher. So option number 1 is scaling the activity. So the nice thing is a lot of these business models, and I'll reference a couple that I think very well, and not just think, but know firsthand, that can achieve $500,000 a year in income, are even just the ones that are very basic in design. They're not fancy or exotic. They're just bread and butter type of business models, but scaled up to massive levels of activity. So for example, we think of final expense as a business model that if you're running 30, 40, 50 appointments every single week, you're buying 100 plus leads every single week to support those on a face-to-face person, much more on a telesales version. It is possible, and there have been agents who have done this, that are netting an income after expenses of $500,000 or more a year. The first person I think of is Ryan Lodi, who used to work with me back in the day, but is now doing his own thing. He wrote, I think, $700,000 in 9 months during COVID in 2020. And prior to that has written a good bit as well. So this is something that can be accomplished, and we also know that if you really put in the effort on the Medicare side, selling Medicare Advantage or Medicare supplements, and you really scale that activity to help more and more people every single week, that you can produce an income in the $500,000 range or more, because about $500,000, when you take the average pay and residual for Medicare, is about 1,700 policies in total. And it won't happen in the first year. For most people, it takes a lot of time, multiple years of just continuously running a lot of appointments, taking care of clients, etc. But again, I'm not so much saying that you can do this fast, but it is something that is accomplishable just by a simple process. And as just a shameless plug, we do have a video called how to write or how to make an income of $500,000 annually in 5 years or less selling insurance. That's completely for free. If you want to check that out, it's daviddeford.com/ISS. And we go into it using final expense in Medicare, how to achieve that goal in just 5 years or less sometimes. Now, option number 2 is if you don't want to sell these kind of mainline bread and butter type of products, is that you can trade up to higher income producing products. So a couple that come to mind, of course, are that I've seen work very well are annuities, index universal lives. Now, why these 2 products? So generally, they're higher amounts of premiums, which leads to higher commission sales. Annuities regularly have 4- and 5-figure commission values. IULs do too as well. And it doesn't take a lot of those sales every week in order to achieve a 1% type of income. So you do have to have a lot of activity. It's not like that won't go away, but you don't have to necessarily run 50 appointments a week to write enough IULs to hit that kind of 1% income number. So that is another way to scale up without as much work necessarily as far as like presentation volumes in order to hit a $500,000 income, 1% income or more a year. I also will mention here employee benefits are something that are very good because all of the products that we've mentioned up to this point are one-on-one type of product sales, whereas if you take a basic product and you can scale it in kind of a employer basis, like my friend Jim down in South Carolina did to build his business, very successful business, was not just selling one-to-one, but he was selling one company with 500 employees, one or two products each, 30 or 40% bought, and with one presentation, got into multiple presentations, sell a lot of different products. And so that is another strategy that works very well because you have this sense of scalability that you otherwise wouldn't get if you're selling one-on-one products like the aforementioned ones. Now, option number 3 is essentially what I have decided. It is the preferred choice I went. And I'll kind of tell you why that's the case. And that is to duplicate and scale through recruiting of others. So instead of going into product sales or trading up products or scaling activity, I decided very early on in 2013 that there was a need for good training, for good support, and a real honest agency that wanted to truly help people become sales professionals, not Kool-Aid dispensing recruiters. And so my niche has always been in helping agents become top producers. And I've really always doubled down, tripled down on that idea. And it's paid off very, very well for me. And it's a way to scale yourself in the sense that you don't have to do all the sales. Granted, you're going to take less of the commission because of the overrides are going to be smaller than what you would make. But I can get a lot more income potential hiring, recruiting hundreds, if not thousands of agents, and I can do just on my own. And I think in some ways, I would say if you don't want to always sell and be on the phone 40, 50, 60 hours a week or in person selling, then this is a way to get out of that process and then to duplicate the valuable lessons you've learned and to turn these into essentially a process to help people do the same thing you're looking to accomplish. And there's a lot of people that want what it is that you've achieved and the wisdom and knowledge that comes from it. So for me, duplicating myself and building an agency out of it was the best thing. Of course, with all of these processes, there are good and bad to them. But these are the ways I think if your goal is to become a 1% producer, top 1% income producer in the business, that you can follow, whether that be doing more of the basics to trade up to higher commission products or just to simply duplicate yourself and others through recruiting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about working with the Ford Insurance Group to sell final expense in person over the phone, and you value one-on-one mentorship and training, and you like the idea of our Make Money Guarantee and want to learn more about that, go over davidduford.com/FAQ. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you.